Geronimo Stilton, The Cat Gang. Bills, bills, and more bills. It was a bright fall day. It was the kind of day that makes a mouse want to stop scampering and just breathe. From the window of my office, I stared out at the colorful leaves and sniffed the crisp air. If only I could shut out the sounds of the bustling newsroom behind me. What newsroom? Oh, excuse me, I haven't introduced myself. My name is Stilton, Geronimo Stilton, and I run the Rodents Gazette, the most famous newspaper on Mouse Land. Not famous, it's famous newspaper on Mouse Island. Dwayne Digit Paws, the financial manager, began squeaking in my ear. Mr. Stilton, we need to go over the monthly bills, he insisted. Bills, bills, and more bills. If there's one thing I can't stand, it's dealing with the monthly bills. I tried to convince Dwayne to talk to me after lunch, but it was as if his ears were stuffed with cheese. He kept on squeaking. Look here, Mr. Stilton, he said. This month's phone bill is $4,500, and the cost of paper is ridiculous. We spent $30,000 and the new photocopier cost $7,000. There was no way to stop him. So I spent the whole morning going over the numbers and paying bills. Sigh. So much for my relaxing fall morning. Finally, Dwayne told me I needed to sign some documents over at the bank. No problem, I agreed, heading for the door. I decided I would stop at home for lunch first. At least it would be peaceful there. But I was wrong. As soon as I left the Rodents Gazette, someone blinded me with a flash, yelling, Nice shot, Mr. Stilton. I recognized him immediately. Aren't you Red Paparazzi, the photographer for the famous, scandalous newspaper Chatter? I asked. Exactly, Mr. Stilton, answered Red, snapping another picture. Smile. I scratched my head. Why are you taking my photo? I mumbled as I was blinded by another series of flashes. I'm photographing you because I want to work for you, replied Red. I'll show you how good I am. Smile, please. By now I was starting to see stars from all that flashing light. Please stop, I wailed, but Red kept snapping away. I'll stop when you hire me to work for your newspaper, he demanded. Luckily, I had just arrived in front of my house. I need to think about it, Red, I stammered. I'll let you know as soon as I can. Then I flung open the door and raced inside. I was safe at last. To recover from my stressful morning, I treated myself to a delicious lunch of macaroni and cheese, mozzarella rolls, and chocolate-covered cheddar logs. After lunch, I lay down for a quick mouse nap. I was awakened by the sound of the telephone ringing. Ring! It was Dwayne Digit Paws. Mr. Stilton, he shrieked. What are you still doing at home? The bank closes in 15 minutes. Cheese niblets. I had forgotten all about going to the bank. I left right away, but just outside my door stood an annoying surprise. Red Paparazzi with his flashing camera. So, Mr. Stilton, will you hire me? He asked as he followed me. Not now, Red, I muttered, racing along. I am in a hurry. I have to get to the bank. But that didn't stop Red. Perfect, he squeaked. I can take some action shots of you. I was running so fast I was almost hit by a black van. It roared past me and screeched to a stop in front of the bank. Meanwhile, Red Paparazzi was clicking away. Flash, flash, flash. 4 rodents wearing dark raincoats and serious expressions climbed out of the van. They headed into the bank. But when I tried to follow them inside a moment later, the door was locked. Sour Swiss rolls, I exclaimed. How strange, those rodents had scampered ahead just ahead of me. Oh well, at least Red Paparazzi had stopped taking my picture and was taking shots of the bank instead. Quiet as a mouse, I snuck back home. When I arrived, the phone rang. It was my sister Thea. There was a robbery at the bank of New Mouse City, she said. I'll meet you at the office. Rancid poison. But I was just there a half hour ago, I cried. I hung up the phone and turned on the TV. A newscaster was interviewing a bank teller. Did you see how many there were? She asked. There were 4, all dressed in black, replied the teller. Then an enormous, not enormous, enormous cat appeared. A cat? Asked the newscaster. Are you sure? Absolutely, the teller replied. It was the most frightening cat I have ever seen. I shuddered. An enormous cat was terrorizing the rodents of New Mouse City. I was scared out of my fur, but I needed to get the story for the paper. If only we had pictures. Then I remembered Red Paparazzi. He had photographed everything. I had to find him. I opened my front door to search for Red Paparazzi and was blinded by a flash. He had found me. We went to the newsroom together and Red downloaded more than 200 photos onto Thea's computer. Too bad they were all terrible. Do you like my style, Mr. Stilton? Red asked. I'm into close-ups. I tried not to cry. They were shots of my nose, my paw, and my whiskers. Finally, an image appeared on the screen. It showed all 4 villains putting the money into the van. How strange, commented Thea. Someone is missing. It doesn't add up. The following morning, I woke up to the sound of the phone ringing. Hello, I squeaked. It was Dwayne Digit Paws. Did you go to the bank? He asked. Oops, I forgot again. I'm on my way to the bank of New Mouse City right now. Not that bank, Mr. Stilton, he said with a sigh. The papers are at the Rodent Savings Bank. What? I had gone to the wrong bank the previous day? When the doorbell rang, it was my nephew Benjamin and his friend Bugsy Wugsy. Hi, Uncle Geronimo, my nephew squeaked. Guess what? It's a school holiday. Can we hang out with you? I gave Benjamin a huge hug on how I loved that little mouse. Of course, my dear nephew, I said, but first we need to take a quick trip to the bank. Then we'll go to my office. Sounds good? Yes, Benjamin and Bugsy exclaimed. A few minutes later, we reached the bank. I couldn't believe my eyes. Rest of the story, part 2.